Okay, June 20th here, take two. Fellowship tonight. And we're going to start off here with our... So here we go. Here's the thing. I've stepped up the trivia a little bit. Now, 2 points. 2 points if you can get the answer without the answer showing up. 1 point if you get it with the answer showing up. Here we go. What idol of the Philistines fell on his face before the Ark of the Covenant?
Moloch?
No, it wasn't Moloch.
It's Raman or
Dagon.
I knew that.
There it is. Okay, Anna put the scriptures up there too, so you can kind of see there. So yeah, so it happened a couple times. Fell down before the Ark of Yahweh there.
2 times.
That's right. That's right. In what city did the Ark of the Covenant remain for 20 years after it was returned by the Philistines? Here's a tougher one.
Ramah.
Raymond Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Oh, Kurt. It wasn't Charlotte.
And so it was that from the day of the Ark came to dwell in Kiarath Jearim, the days multiplied and became 20 years. Okay. One. Who built the Ark of the Covenant? Another tough one here.
David?
No, it was, I bet you it's Bezalel.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Good one. Very good. Made the Ark. And it tells the dimensions and everything else of it, but that is correct.
How'd you know that?
Wisdom.
But that's very good. That's very good.
Sure want to mess up.
What man died suddenly for touching the Ark of Yahweh as it was being carried by oxen?
He's a priest. Trying to push it
No,
back on the
that'd be
sled.
Joyce.
No, he was pushing it back on the sled, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or he tried to catch it.
I think it's Azariel, but.
Who's that?
Yeah, there's the scripture for it. Moving along. Here's a couple good ones. Now these are name associations. What was Yahoshua's original name? Very good, Aaron. 2 points. Very good. So these are the names of the men whom Moses sent out to spy out the land, but Moses called Hoshea, son of Nun, Yahoshua. And last one. Here we go. What was Zaphnath Paaneah's original name? That should give it to you.
Daniel?
Joseph. Yeah, I didn't when I did these because I've got a site that I go to that has a lot of these,
Is that what
and
his
I
dad named him?
No, that's what the
No.
Pharaoh
that's a
did.
Pharaoh named him. His original name was Joseph, but the Pharaoh named him. Yeah, yeah. Like, hang on a second, and it was basically the master of the riches or emperor of the riches or something is what it translates to be. Okay, so starting off here, Susanna Wesley, in a letter to her son, John Wesley, wrote on June 8th, 1725. So we're looking here in a relevant time here, obviously. Take this rule: whatever weakens your reason, impairs the tenderness of your conscience, obscures your sense of Yahweh, or takes off your relish of spiritual things. In short, whatever increases the strength and authority of your body over your mind, that thing is sin in you, however innocent it may be in itself. That, to me, is the best way to say that everybody's going to have problems with sin in different areas. This sums it up. Right there. This will highlight to a person what is it for me individually, what is it? And this was in 1725. I'm like, oh, what a great letter from his mother. That the sin separates us from Yahweh. Okay? And so tonight I'm going to do a little sharing on vision. And the number one thing is to have vision. You can have the vision, do what you're supposed to do, but sin separates us from that. It separates us from that and pulls us away and hinders us from those things. I thought I would include that to start with. Let's start off in Proverbs 29:18. Donald, you do me a favor. Would you mind bringing this lamp over here? Do you mind? Just so I can see. I forgot to do it earlier. Glasses. No, thank you. All right, 29:18. If somebody would go ahead and read that for me, please.
When there is no vision, a people is let loose. But he that keepeth instruction, how happy is he?
That's exactly it. And so I love that. Proverbs is kind of neat because there's 31 chapters. You can almost look at it as one per day. We are limited not by our abilities, but by our vision. Our abilities have been given to us by Christ. What stops us from making those things come to action is our vision, how we see ourselves and putting it into motion. So I'm going to take a couple people we're going to look at here. We're going to look at Moses' vision of himself. And so to start with, let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 11. be in verse 24, Hebrews 11:24. As soon as I get to it, I will read it. I'm going to be on page 231, 11, verse 24 through 27. By faith, Moses, when grown up, refused to be called the son of a daughter of a Pharaoh, rather choosing to be jointly suffering ill treatment with the people of Yahweh, than for a season to be having sin's enjoyment, accounting as greater riches than Egypt's treasure the reproach of the anointed one. For he was looking away unto the recompense. By faith he forsook Egypt, not put in fear of the wrath of the king, for as seeing him who cannot be seen, he persevered. So Moses, not putting everything else aside, his vision, he knew what he had to do. Not being able to be seen, his vision was, here's what I have to do. And so a vision for a person can be something that you like going, okay, here's the direction I need to go. I know where I need to end up. How I get there is the journey. That's the whole trip. And I have to go through and do these things. But my vision is, here's what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's look at Yahoshua's vision of himself. Let's go to John 9. John 9, verses 1 through 4.
Big Joe.
That's right. Page 103. Chapter 9, verses 1 through 4. And passing along, he saw a man blind from birth, and his disciples questioned him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that blind he should be born? And Yahushua answered, Neither this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of Yahweh should be made manifest in him. Now, to me, I think that this should just roll right into the next verse. Okay, not that Yahweh made him so that he could be corrected, but if you connect these two together, and I'm going to read it just like that, but that the works of Yahweh should be made manifest in him, we must needs be working the works of him that sent me while it is day. There cometh a night when no one can work. Okay, so he knew what he had to do as well, that this is what I'm to be doing, and to be speaking these things. And so again, I even put it in here. Now I put it in parentheses there to show it, but if you connect these two, that other translations will always show it, but that this is so that Yahweh could show himself. Okay, in other words, he was created this way so that at some point in time when he was an adult, he could be healed. Okay, and I disagree with that. Now, it's my own opinion, but I disagree with that. The way that this is saying, because remember, all the punctuation is added. Okay, all the punctuation is added. If it's a comma there and not a capital W, it flows right into it. Okay, to be manifest in him, we must be doing. So, in other words, for it to be manifest in him, we need to do it now. Okay, this needs to be done now. Vision allows us to see beyond or past what our senses are relaying. So Helen Keller had a quote. There's a lot of nice quotes that I found on the internet on vision, and she had one that said the one thing that she thought was worse than being blind was not having vision. She goes, I have vision. I can't see, but I have vision. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. That's a very good point, because people will see things and they will never have eyes to see. They'll hear things, but never have the ears to hear things. And so I thought that was kind of a neat thing. So remember that it's beyond our senses, what our body's telling us. A couple quotes here. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. People only see what they are prepared to see. Okay, and this is where a lot of the teachings that I've gone over and done, that it's so imperative that we have the right vision of ourselves. If we don't see ourselves, and we don't see ourselves ever raising somebody from the dead, ever healing somebody, ever coming up to somebody and ministering them on the streets, you're not going to see it. It's preparation, that this is the vision that I have, that I see, and what I see I'm prepared to see. Okay, and that's why I love that with Ralph Waldo Emerson, his quote on there. This was another interesting one I found in there as well. That Bruce Lee had a unique fighting style. He made it himself. Okay, it was something that he developed. The main part of his fighting style was he aimed 6 inches beyond his target. So if his target that he was going to hit would be like my computer screen, he would be aiming back here. And that was one of his big things. And so he came up with his own theories and whatnot. But I thought, that's great. He's seeing beyond his target. He sees his target and he's going beyond it to hit it. And that's what he's doing. That was his approach. Let's go to Mark. Mark 9. We're going to be on page 44, I believe. And I'm going to ask somebody if they would read this. It's 10 verses here, and it's 9, and it's 17 through 27, so it's going to be on page 44 starting off. If somebody would mind reading that for me, please.
And one out of the multitude answered him, Teacher, I brought my son unto thee, having a dumb ruach, and wheresoever it seizeth him, it teareth him, and he foameth, and grindeth his teeth, and weareth himself out. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast it out, and they could not. But he answering said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him, and seeing him, the ruach straightway tear him, and falling upon the ground, he wallowed foaming. And he gathered his father, and he questioned his father, How long a time is it that this hath befallen him? And he said, From childhood. And many times hath it cast him both into the fire and into water, that it might destroy him. But if anything be possible to thee, help us, have compassion upon us. And Yahushua said unto him, As for this, if it be possible to thee, all things are possible to him who hath faith. Straightway, crying out, the father of the child was saying, I have faith, help my want of faith. And Yahushua, seeing that a multitude is running together, rebuked the impure spirit, ruach, saying unto it, Thou dumb and deaf ruach, I give orders unto thee, come forth out of him, and do not any more enter into him. And crying out and greatly mangling him, it came forth, and he became as if dead, so that the more part were saying, He is Igaro, which is asleep. But Yahushua, grasping his hand, that's it, he is dead. But Yahushua, raising his hand, awoke him, and he stood up. That's it. That's what Igaro is at raised.
That is it. That's a raised Igaro. And so it's kind of neat. The people's vision of it was what they saw. He was in better condition, foaming and gnashing his teeth and being dead. That's what they saw. Yeah. Here's what my senses see. Yahushua heals the kid. He drops down appearing dead. He had the vision that they raise him, pull him up. Okay, and so that's the difference, is the vision. The people are like, if there's, you can imagine this taking a while for this kid laying there being dead, and the murmuring that would be going on. Oh boy, are you kidding me? He didn't help at all. All this kind of stuff going on, because the vision, the nearsightedness, what I see with my eyes versus what the vision is that Yahweh or Yahushua is calling upon this for the healing. So that, again, the vision, the correct vision, he had that to keep pushing to get this. Here's kind of a funny story that I came across here as well. A 5th grade social studies class was asked to come home, count the stars in the sky as part of their next lesson. They came back with various numbers of stars. Some had hundreds, some had thousands, some said even over 1 million. Finally, the teacher asked the little boy, who had said nothing, How many stars did you count? He replies, 3. Teacher asked, How did you only see 3? He said, I guess I just have a small backyard. So again, this is the perception, what a person views of themselves. If a person has an inward view of themselves, I can't do anything, I've never been able to do anything, then you never will. And so this is, again, vision, all vision, how we perceive, what we view ourselves, how we view our position in the body. How does a sin life view of yourself? It was kind of neat, because when I was thinking about this and going over this, I was thinking about a fan that Dawn and I have in our room, and it's just one of those round fans that has 3 blades. And we have it on high, and it's spinning, and you can hold your hand in front of it, and it's almost nothing. And you're looking at it going, how is that possible? I can see the curvature of the fan, there's nothing broken with it, it's spinning right, but hardly any air is coming off of it. And so Donna stops the fan, she takes it apart, she comes down here and she cleans it. She cleans the fan, and the fan had all kinds of stuff that had slowly over a period of time gathered over the top of it, and there was zero movement, no movement. She puts it all back together, turns it on, and it's just blasting air. Same speed, same everything else. What was different was all the stuff that had attached itself to it that was stopping the air from moving. I'm like going, even this fan now is that way. It needs to be cleaned. Sometimes you can feel air coming off it, other times you just can't. It's like, what the heck? It's hardly blowing anything. And it's the same thing as I looked at it and I thought to myself, this is like our lives. That we may be going through the motions, everything looks great, but no movement, no physical air movement, no things moving within the spirit. Okay, and yet all it is, hey, over time, that these things, if you allow them to collect, that they wear you down, that they hold you down, you're going through the motions, but there's no action, there's no movement. And so again, with the vision it's like a piece of iron that you lay outside. Okay, what happens to it? It rains, it starts to rust. This is the same as our bodies. It is a continually refining that vision. And if you just, here's my vision, here's what I have to do. All right, I'm just going to sit around and wait for this to come about. What's going to happen is what happens like to the fan. You have to be in action. The faith action, the movement action, everything that you have to do. So first thing is to remove the sin, get rid of those things. Polish the vision. We have to continually remind ourselves. I think about Moses, for how many years he was in basically a probation where he's waiting for the things, this amount of time. This is what's going to take place. To polish the vision, the children that were in the desert, okay, for 40 years, knowing that here's what's going to happen, but we have to continually remind ourselves, here's where we're going to be. There's another place. This is what's going to happen. This is my vision. This is what's been told me that I'm supposed to be doing. This is polishing that vision. It's the same thing when a person's feeling down and like, oh, boy, nothing ever happens. And I think to myself, the miracles that I've seen with me. Like, are you kidding me? Polish, get these things refined. What's the vision? If this happened to me, will it happen to somebody else? Yes, absolutely. Okay, and exercise the faith. The faith is the action. That's the turning on of the switch and the air moving. Okay, and it's all important to have that. But the vision of what you're told to do is also it's hinged on our actions. Without our actions, here's your vision. Go do it. All right, what do I do? All right, well, let's get started. I think about what's his face who sailed across, Columbus, when he sailed across. And I've got a thing from him on this. When he sailed across the ocean, he had no idea what he was going to find in and go to. Hey, anybody want to sign up? Come on, guys. We're going out into the deep blue. We may fall off the edge of the earth. Who wants to sign up? Okay, and yet he had the vision to do this, but he could not see the end of it. He stepped out. Let's go. Let's go do this. And this is the same thing with us. Vision, turning on the switch and getting the movement started. Does your vision need to be broadened? And I would think that at some point or another, everybody's does. I know often. You cannot see the mountain near, which is absolutely perfect. Okay, it speaks for itself. I'm like going, that's another great quotation that I love. Moving from that, we're going to look into John 4. You can turn to it while we're going, but I'm going to kind of bring it up to us because what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the before and after to start with before we actually start reading into it. So no cheating. No pre-reading. I'm watching. All right. John 4, we have a Samaritan woman at the fountain, the moving water, which by itself is neat because it's the Jacob's fountain, okay? And it's moving water. That's what this fountain is. And the Samaritan woman is there, and you guys know the story that Christ is there as well. And the disciples went out to get food. It's been a laborious time. People are hungry. They're probably worn out and tired. And so they go to get food, and Christ stays at the well, or at the fountain. Yehoshua told the woman he could give her a fountain of living water to thirst no more. She had known of the coming Messiah called Christ. Now, this is all in John 4. She'd known about it, and what happens is Christ gives her prophecy. And I think about that, how important that prophecy is. That's what opened it up. You must be this because of what you just did, and we've known about this. And so I think to myself, when somebody offers, if you offered a perfect stranger, hey, I'd like to pray for you and give you prophecy, that person would be like going, holy cow, that may open up a door. It may not, but you'll never know without doing that. But he did this, okay? Christ did do this, and she knew about it coming. She told the men of Samaria. She went back, and she told the men of Samaria about her encounter, and then told them, come and see what's happened. They came forth out of the city and were coming to see him. The end of the story, we're going to read the middle of the story. The end of the story, and out of the city many believed on him, of the Samaritans, by reason of the word of the woman and bearing of witness. He told me all the things that I ever did, and many more believed by reason of the discourse. What happened is this caused a chain event from the one thing, from this vision. The one woman, she goes back, and from this, many people come to Christ. And so I'm like going, that's fantastic. Now, read the center part of the story. So if you're in John 4, it'll take me a minute here to get to it. But we're going to be in John 4, verse 31.
95.
Thank you. And I will read this here, okay? Starting off in 31. So we kind of have a little bit of a backdrop. 4:31. There we go. All right. So now we know where we're at here. In verse 31, in the meantime, the disciples were requesting him, saying, Rabbi, eat. Now they just gone and got food. So Rabbi, eat. But he said unto them, I have food to eat, of which ye know not. Now you can think of that. They're like going, Dad Kennedy sent us into town and we got food and now he's already eaten. Who fed him? Okay? The disciples therefore began to say one to another, hath anyone brought him to eat? Yahushua saith unto them, my food is that I should do the will of him that sent me and complete the work. Vision, all vision. This is the vision right there, all summed up. Okay? And ye not saying, yet a 4 month it is, and the harvest cometh. Now 4 month there, the basis of this means that when you sow, it's 4 months to harvest. And so, that's what we're looking at. You've sown, harvest now coming. Yet a 4 month it is, and the harvest cometh. Lo, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and gaze at the fields, that white are they unto harvest. Already he that reapeth received a reward, and gathereth fruit unto life age abiding, that he that soweth together may rejoice with him that reapeth. Now you can imagine these guys looking around going, is he seeing something we're not seeing? And the answer to that is yes. What is he seeing? He just saw it with this woman. That the harvest, here's the harvest. One seed dropped, and multitudes coming from that. And the basis of that is, guess what? For us, do we have to sow to find people who want to be Christians?
Yeah.
You go out. You reap them, fishers of men. Fishers of men, you drag the nets, you pull them up. Same thing with the believers. Christ has already done this. If I prophesy for somebody, it's up to them to take it or not. I'm reaping. I'm reaping when I go out to bring in people to Christ. I'm bringing them in. Okay, so this is it. That was at 35. Rejoice with them. So I love that he shows them through the vision that what he sees is the multitude, the reaping coming. Re-energize your vision if necessary. Keep pushing through the slow times or the incubation and stay focused. And the Word has so many times where there's years that take place in between things. The whole time while this is taking place, there's always something that can be done. Always something while you're on that route to complete your mission or your vision is something you come up upon. And I think about that as some of the teachings that I've listened to in the past, where somebody is like, okay, Yahweh, for what do you have for me today? And well, okay, we've said you're calling in and checking in. You're going to come across somebody who needs this. I'll be watching. Now, if I don't seek that out, if I don't, hey, I'm ready, let me do something, then, well, it may go to somebody else. It may not happen at all, or it may happen down the road another time. But if I'm every day interceding, use me today. What can I do for you today? And here's a vision. You're going to have this. This is going to take place with you. Talk to this person. Be watching. There's somebody you can be helped. Maybe there's nothing. Hey, guess what? Just enjoy your day. Just enjoy the day. But the difference is to be able to be ready. And while you're standing there for your vision, this may be part of it to help build you to something further in your life's walk. Columbus' diary had many repetitive entries. Page after page, he wrote, "This day we sailed on." And you could imagine the people probably turning against him at some point. Holy cow, it's getting hot. We're out of food. What's this scurvy stuff that's going on with us? All these things happening. And in his diary, this day we sailed on. We continue. They could have turned back. They could have turned south. They could have turned whatever. But he kept pushing through and kept pushing on. Let's go to Luke 10. Okay, if somebody would read that Luke 10:2 for me, please.
He was saying unto them, the harvest indeed is great, but the laborers few. Beg ye therefore of Yahweh of the harvest, that he would thrust forth laborers into his harvest.
That's it. Now, obviously, we know that this is being delivered here to who it's being delivered to, but this, we can absolutely look at this and think to ourselves that, yeah, there is. I look at it with David. I look at it with the booths, with the people who are spreading the word. And, you know, David puts a movie up in the middle of a little village, and the next thing you know, people are flocking. Well, hey, what is this? What is going on? What is this? This is, hey, I want more. And so what is this doing? His sowing, if you want to call it sowing, is turning on the projector, turning the switch, igniting the switch, and guess what? Here comes the reaping, the harvest, okay, of the people. And this is something I look at that, yes, it's there. People are available. It just needs to be. Last one here, we're going to be closing here in Isaiah 6:8. 6:8 is going to be on page 653. And this is it here. So closing in this here in verse 8 of chapter 6 of Isaiah. Then heard I the voice of my master Adonai saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, here I am, send me. And that should be what we do every day, that we are checking in for duty. What do you want me to do while I'm on the process of completing my vision that you have for me? And keeping my vision, that even if I don't know what my vision is, first of all, James tells us if we are lacking wisdom to ask. Okay, that Yahweh will tell you. But if you're not sure if what's the vision for me, and I think most people do know, but if you don't, then just keep pushing forward. Just keep pushing forward. And that is it.
Of him telling us.
That's right. So if somebody would close for me, and then we'll go ahead and stop this.
I'd like to. We thank you, Heavenly Father, Adonai Yahweh Elohim of hosts, through your wonderful awakened Son, Mashiach Yehoshua. We thank you that we can come to the Creator of the universe because of what you and your Son have done, and that we can call ourselves members of the body of the Christ. We thank you, Father, for the men and women that have went before us, that the Rotherham and all the people in our country that give us freedom. We thank you for the internet and for the ability to record things and to store things. We thank you for the vision that's inside of our heart, that if we will humble ourselves, and if we will pursue you, and if we will come to you humbled upon our knees, not haughty, you will not only help us with the vision that you have for us, but you'll show us even greater things. You'll intensify things, and you'll give us greater vision. We thank you for helping us disconnect our vision, the natural man's vision, and to cling to the new man's vision, which is through the written word. We thank you for Don and Tim's life, and we thank you for them opening up their house, and I speak blessings over them for how they have fed us tonight. I thank you for a wonderful weekend this weekend, and for a safe return for the Cunninghams. And we thank you for all these things through Mashiach Yehoshua.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like a prophecy. But anyways,